What's up, guys? Chase Oliver here, bringing you another classic pay-per-view review to my channel. Anyways, guys, y'all chose WCW Fall Brawl 1996. That got the most responses. When it came down to which Fall Brawl you guys want me to review, it was spread across. You know, there was Fall Brawl 1999 for the LOLs. There was like Fall Brawl 2000, Fall Brawl 95, Fall Brawl 93. It was just all spread out in the comment section of which one that you wanted me to review. But I saw 2 comments for Fall Brawl 1996, so I said, you know what? That's the pay-per-view I'm going to be reviewing. Now, that's Fall Brawl 1996. But before I get into the WCW Fall Brawl 1996 review, I just got to ask. You know, we're going to TNA next week. Yes, TNA's old pay-per-view in September was No Surrender. Which No Surrender should I review? And only choose the No Surrenders that were in September. Don't be all cheap and choose a No Surrender in July. So, which No Surrender should I review for the next classic PPV review? Answer that in the comment section down below. Without any further ado, let's get started with my WCW Fall Brawl 1996 review. When it comes down to Fall Brawl 1996, there's really only one match that really matters on this card, and it's the truth. It's one match that they were building up the whole pay-per-view around. You'll see a bunch of video packages for it. It kicks off the show. It's in the middle of the show, and I'll talk about in my review more of that match than the rest of the card because really, to be honest, I didn't think this was that good of a pay-per-view overall. You know, this was just a one-match pay-per-view to me. You know, there's only like really 2 good matches on this card that were on the undercard. One of the matches was just a plot device match to build up for more of the main event and for later on. So let's just get started with this Fall Brawl 1996 review. We have Diamond Dallas Page taking on Chavo Guerrero in a grudge match. DDP at the time was feuding with the Guerrero family, and Chavo Guerrero was trying to defend the Guerrero family honor. Yay. So, Chavo and DDP had a pretty good opening match. This is definitely a good opener. And they did a good job at making Chavo Guerrero look legit and tough in this match. You know, like DDP hit him with a sick spin-out powerbomb. And Chavo Guerrero kicked out and the fans thought it was over. And, you know, the problem is, though, sometimes is like, and even the WWE does this today, is that, like, they were trying to make DDP look like a heel. Like, DDP was totally the heel in this match. But the fans were like, man, he's so much more entertaining than Chavo Guerrero. I'm not going to cheer Chavo. And it was kind of sad because there was a moment where Chavo was kind of like, you know, hulking up, getting that babyface comeback in this match. And it was just like the fans were like, who gives a shit? It's Chavo. And then when DDP was acting like a heel and he would go like, bang! And it's like the fan was like, ah! It's like, sometimes you got to know what your audience wants. And, you know, this was coming off the transition period of like 93 through 95, which were terrible years for all wrestling parties involved. So, you know, they were still learning. They were still trying to understand what the fans really, really want. But DDP ends up winning this match. And like I said, it was a good match. And it made Chavo look legit at the end of the day. Sadly, they did nothing with Chavo Guerrero. They didn't. The next match is a garbage match that you can skip. Ice Train with Teddy Long took on Scott Norton in a submission match. This shit was terrible. Like, they were trying to build up the whole match. Oh, Ice Train, he hurt his shoulder. You know, Scott Norton has a move with the shoulder. And Scott Norton, like, put him in the armbar so many fucking times. And, like, the fans didn't even give a crap about the wrestlers in this match. They cheered when Teddy Long almost got his ass kicked. And they cheered when freaking Ice Train made Scott Norton tapped out because they were happy this match was over. It was bad storytelling. It just really, really was bad storytelling. It wasn't even like they had good, entertaining in-ring action to kind of make up for the terrible storytelling. It was just bad overall. You know, Scott Norton, like, Ice Train's like, you know, getting in the armbar the whole match, and they're trying to build up this shoulder injury. He walks into full Nelson like it's nothing, and then not only that, he freaking, like, no-sells a shoulder injury. He doesn't even, like, hold his shoulder after the match. He's just kind of, like, chilling there, and Teddy Long's like, good shit, like, tapping that shoulder. It's like, the fuck? God, terrible fucking story, but it is what it is, and, oh, God. AAA Heavyweight Championship match, or as WCW would call it, the Mexican Heavyweight Championship match between Conan, who recently joined the Dungeon of Doom, taking on linebacker for Tijuana State University, Juventud Guerrera. I know, he's not from Tijuana State, or he was a linebacker, but I like saying that. Juventud Guerrera and Conan was disappointing, man. This match was really, really disappointing. I was sitting there and I was like, oh man, Conan and Juventud when they're younger? Oh, this could be a good match. And I was just left disappointed. You know, it got good in the end. I definitely will say it got better in the end. But it was just a disappointing match. Like, they started off strong. Then you could tell Conan was kind of gassed out. Like Conan was just like, and then Hoobie had to try to carry a match, and you're asking Juventud Guerrera to carry a match? Oh, that's not good. So it just wasn't a good match. Conan ends up winning and retaining the Mexican Heavyweight Championship, otherwise known as a AAA title. Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho had a good match. This is another match I suggest you check out here. You know, if you've seen some of their WWE counters, you know what to expect from these two men. They did a really good job in this match. They had Jericho look like he was almost going to beat the Rabid Wolverine, Chris Benoit. But then Chris Benoit hits a sick back suplex, man, like a back superplex from the top rope. It was fucking sick. Hits that back superplex. 1, 2, 3. Benoit wins. This is a good match between Benoit and Jericho. It's not the best of their encounters. I'm pretty sure they've had better encounters that I have seen from the WWE times. But this match right here, it was really refreshing to see. You know, even though I don't like Chris Benoit for what the fuck he did, which is obvious to me, it was kind of refreshing to see a Benoit match mid-card show. I'm not going to lie. But Jericho and Benoit, I thought they did a really good job here. Rey Mysterio defended his Cruiserweight title against Super Cal-O. Super Cal-O is a AAA superstar that you shouldn't care about. Pretty much, this was a disappointing Cruiserweight title match. They were kind of going a little bit too slow. And that's sometimes the problem when luchadors come to do American wrestling. Some of them don't understand. You can go fast, just not too fast. Because, you know, lucha-style wrestling is totally different than American-style wrestling. And I don't expect American fans to understand it. And so, instead of getting a high, fast-paced action match, we got that sometimes in this match. It was more of the usual, like, 1, 2, oh, lift the arm up, oh, he's on his shoulders, and oh, he's doing this, what is he doing? Oh, he did a Hurricanrana that we've already seen 5 fucking times. So, you know, it was just, it's an okay Cruiserweight title match. It's definitely not one of Ray's best Cruiserweight title matches. He's had so many better matches. But if you like the Cruiserweights and you just want to put into the fact that you just love seeing flying and flips and Hurricanranas all the time, you'll probably think this is a good match. To me, it was just okay and not really one of Ray's best matches. And Super Cal-O, he ended up being a jobber at the end of the day. Harlem Heat defended the tag team titles against the Nasty Boys. Okay tag match. Could be it could have been worse, but it was just okay. Harlem Heat ends up retaining. It's just okay. There's nothing more I can say about it. Now, the co-main event of the evening, the Giant taking on Randy Savage. The Giant at the time was known as the Big Show, and he came in with Kevin. I'm drawing the blank on the Taskmaster. I'm just gonna say the Taskmaster because I'm freaking drawing the blank of his real last name. The Taskmaster. He came in as Andre the Giant's son and part of the Dungeon of Doom to take the WCW title away from Hulk Hogan. Giant recently turned heel to join the NWO, and Randy Savage was going to face the Giant, and Randy Savage's logic was, if I beat the Giant, then I get a shot at the WCW title, which Hulk Hogan holds, or Hollywood Hogan's holds at this time. So pretty much, this match was just pretty much a story-built match. It was to build up to the next feud for Hollywood Hogan. That's pretty much what this match was all about. It's not a really good match, but storyline purposes, they did a good job building it up for a Hollywood Hogan match and Savage match down the line. You know, you have it where, you know, Nick Patrick, he was a screwed referee, and so when Macho Man looks like he's about to win after hitting the elbow drop on Big Show, you know, out comes Hulkster baby, and Macho Man's all pissed off about this, and so he goes to chase off Hogan, and then, you know, Nick Patrick during all this, you know, he's yelling at the Big Show, and he doesn't see that freaking Kevin Nash and Scott Hall came and whacked him with the steel chair, and so then all of a sudden they throw Savage in the ring. 1, 2, 3, NWO for life. Big Show wins, baby. That's pretty much it. It's just a story enhancement match for a match later down the line, which I'm fine with on pay-per-views, especially, you know, pay-per-views that you're considering filler pay-per-views. I don't know what it was like back in the 90s, because keep in mind, I was born in 1993. So when this pay-per-view was going on live, guys, I was only 3 years old. So I don't know if Fall Brawl was considered filler. I know they had one of their bigger matches on this show, but, you know, for a filler pay-per-view, if you can build up a feud like this, sure, go right ahead. Alrighty then, now it's time to talk about the match that this show was pretty much built off of. The War Games match. The War Games match was a huge match for WCW. You know, the Four Horsemen, you know, that was their match. That was the match for the Four Horsemen, was that War Games match, and they were bringing it back to face off against the NWO at the time. You know, if NWO wins, they get like full control of WCW. Some some stupid stipulation, you know the idea. And so it's like all the WCW baby faces, they have to combine together to stop the collective force of the NWO. So, you know, at the time it was just Hogan, Hall, Nash, and then a bunch of other people would join the NWO and they would kick them out of the NWO. But it wasn't as diluted back then. Like, you knew who was a part of the NWO. You knew who were the men representing the NWO. So you kind of knew who was a part of it, you know, at this time. And so the whole thing was like, you know, Sting, he was someone that was like always like Team WCW. He told the Four Horsemen, hey, we need to work together. We need to get rid of this threat. Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, they were down to be a part of Team WCW. And Lex Luger, who was babyface number 2 at this time, you know, he was going to be part of Team WCW. But then it led into this like tricky situation where all of a sudden on an episode of Nitro, Lex Luger, you know, goes outside to a car, opens up a limo, and it reveals to be Sting. And it's like, oh, Sting, what's up, man? And Sting just goes, attacks Lex Luger. Out comes the NWO, and this is where everyone's like, oh my God, Sting? Sting betrayed WCW? He's with them? He's with the NWO? And so at this point, you know, you don't know who's going to be the 4th man in Team WCW and all that other stuff. So that's what they were pretty much building, this big NWO versus Team WCW match. And let me just tell you guys something. Is it the best War Games match? Hell no, I don't think it's the best War Games match. But is it a good one? Oh, yes. Like, I wouldn't say you would have to suffer through this pay-per-view to watch it, though. If you're someone who didn't grow up watching it or have never watched the previous Nitros, or it's just your first time watching Fall Brawl 1996 or anything NWO related, I would suggest that you sit down and watch this whole pay-per-view because it does give you all the great backstory that you're missing. You know, I've seen all the NWO DVDs. I've seen, like, you know, the WWE and WCW Monday Night War DVD that talks about the storyline. I've seen, like, you know, pretty much all the DVDs and old Nitros, like back in the good old days, where I kind of knew this storyline ahead of time. So I could have skipped the whole pay-per-view, but that would ruin the whole point of a classic pay-per-view review series, wouldn't it? So I'm just saying, like, you know, if you're a newcomer to WCW in general, like you never watched anything about WCW, this is definitely a good pay-per-view for you to kind of learn the NWO storyline when it first started, because this is when the NWO literally just started, guys. It started, you know, in August of 96. Sorry, I'm slurring on my words here, just trying to get all my facts in my head. August of 96. And so, you know, all of a sudden, you know, Hulk Hogan, the real American hero, betrayed everyone. And so they were running roughshod all over WCW. They desecrated the WCW title by doing, you know, like the spray paint onto the world title belt itself. Like, they were like a huge fucking thing. And the fact of the matter is that you have to get, like, you know, the 2 original members of the Four Horsemen. You have to get Sting, the number 1 babyface in WCW, Lex Luger, the number 2 babyface, and not only that, Sting and, like, fucking Ric Flair's rivalry, they were so big, they made Sting and Ric Flair team up with each other. That's how big the NWO was. That's how much of an impact that they had. That, you know, like, people who were rivals, you know, fighting for the WCW World title before the NWO came to this thing, they had to work together to get rid of this threat. That's how well booked and well, you know, God, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Well booked and well executed the NWO was for the WCW product. So, you know, that's some good fucking shit. And, you know, they had this fake Sting, you know, the NWO Sting, like Sting betrayed, you know, the WCW. And really the match itself, you know, the entrance, you know, it's the right entrance at the right time. Ric Flair's entrance at third was awesome. You know, he's back! Ric Flair, baby! Woo! Like Tony Schiavone just being all happy Ric Flair's back. They did a good job with it. Then out comes NWO Sting, you know, and it looks like, oh God, Sting, I can't believe Sting did this. And then all of a sudden, the 4th entrant for Team WCW is Sting. And everyone's just going batshit crazy, like, wait a minute, there's the real Sting. And it's just like, oh, fuck yeah, Sting's here. And then, you know, Sting, you know, just being that kind of, like, he wasn't really an anti-hero, but, you know, a hero with morals and justice behind him. He was mad that, you know, WCW, Team WCW, they didn't believe him. You know, they were saying, like, oh, you betrayed your back on us, Sting. You joined it. And Sting was pissed off that they believed, you know, this imposter instead of the real deal. So he walked out on Team WCW. He was just like, nope, I'm done with y'all. Y'all don't believe me. Y'all don't believe that I had your back the whole time. Y'all actually thought I joined these motherfuckers? No, I'm gone. See you, bye, deuces. So Sting left the match, you know, near the end of the match. And then afterwards, yeah, Ric Flair is not going to do the job. Neither is Arn Anderson. And it's good that babyface number 2, Lex Luger, was there to do the job to NWO Sting and Hulk Hogan, brother. As Hogan had him in the front lock and NWO Sting had him in the fucking Scorpion cross. What does Sting call his finisher again? Scorpion crosslock? I forgot. Scorpion Deathlock? Yeah, the Scorpion Deathlock, I think it's called. And then Luger taps out. NWO wins. Savage comes out to try to stop Hogan. NWO beat down Savage. NWO beat down Miss Elizabeth. And we end Fall Brawl with the NWO taking over. Overall, Fall Brawl 1996. The War Games match is literally the only match that is really, really good on this pay-per-view. You know, there's good matches, like I said, between Benoit and Jericho and Diamond Dallas Page and Chavo Guerrero. But other than that, you know, some of the matches, very skippable on this pay-per-view. Like I was talking about earlier when I was talking about the NWO history, if you're someone that has literally never watched WCW, you never watch anything that they produced out there, this is a good pay-per-view for you to kind of learn how big this, you know, WCW match was, how big the War Games match is, how big this Team WCW versus Team WO match is, and kind of let you learn a little bit more about the characters and the main eventers in WCW. That's what it could definitely give you. But other than that, you know, if you're a longtime fan, you know, you've already seen this pay-per-view once before, or you already know the fucking history, or have you seen old WCWs through, like, various means of media, like YouTube, Daily Motion, and whatever's out there before the WWE Network, it's kind of like, you know, I remember I saw this War Games match. I believe it's on the Rise and Fall of WCW DVD. I saw this match before, and I was like, you know, it was good back then. It was even good, you know, here. So this match definitely stands the test of time, if you want to say that. I thought it was a good match. And it built up a really good storyline because, you know, afterwards, Sting, he became the Sting that, you know, people talk about, the Crow Sting. Like, everyone still talks about that fucking storyline today. How fucking awesome it was that Sting was all, like, quiet and stuff like that. You know, it definitely led into, you know, the interesting battle between the NWO and, you know, WCW. You know, did the NWO become diluted over time? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you know, it was an impactful faction and one of the best factions in American wrestling history, and if not a wrestling history. So, yeah, you know, NWO versus Team WCW is definitely the match you should check out from War Games 1996, or Fall Brawl 1996, excuse me. But anyways, guys, what did you guys think about Fall Brawl 1996? If you saw it, comment down below your thoughts on Fall Brawl 1996. Don't forget to answer the question of which TNA No Surrender I should review for the next classic PPV review. Anyways, guys, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, rate, comment, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at ChaseOver68 and check out my website, chillinwithchase.com. All right, I'm out of here. Hope you guys enjoy your day. Peace.